I just want to continue on the series I've been going on. I'm just going to ask. I'm going to stick my neck out there. But have you been enjoying the parallels between Genesis and Revelation?
Very good.
Okay, because here's the thing. There's more. And this is why I wanted to keep going, because I want you to see how God orchestrated. Do you ever watch an orchestra? Mm-hmm. You know, there was times when I had a little bit more free time. I have a beautiful sound system my wife and my girls bought me. And some of you might laugh, but I like Bose sound system, okay? Because I like the live sound. I don't like, if I was going to go to the next level, I would go Klipsch, okay? But because right now I have Bose, I have it's 6.2 surround for those of you who are interested in that.
Right.
But it's 6 speakers. Of course, they're doubles, so it's like 12 speakers. And then I have 2 subs. They're smaller, but the way they're designed, they're not a 12-inch. They're actually a 13.5. So when the bassoon and the kettle drums kick in, my kettles start to shake. Okay, but I like to sit there and I imagine every instrument, where they're at, where they're pieced, from the flutes, the clarinets, I think that's from high school days, kind of shrill, okay? But I tolerate them because they're professionals. But how it's orchestrated, and one person leads it. It's not 10 people, okay? It's one person. How they lead that, all those people doing chimes and all sorts of things, and how it's orchestrated and how it all comes together. All these people have different ideas or different thoughts, but when they stay together, in fact, there's a picture that pastors had. I'm going to say it. It was in their bathroom, okay? I think it was on the sink. I used to go over there quite a bit when I was a lot younger to help them out with things. And I always loved going to the bathroom because that picture was in there. It's only about this size. But what happens is the conductor thanks the first chair, right? But then the first chair turns around and thanks the next chair and the next chair. And it just zigzags all the way back and forth until it gets to the guy with the triangle. And he's looking at him like, what? Because every piece has its part. You know, I look at Dr. Drum over here and all the stuff that he's actually literally created with his bare hands. He takes cymbals and he cuts them. He puts holes in them because he's trying to get that particular sound. And see, that's with you. You have a particular sound in the body of Christ. And God is waiting for you to use it. To use it. Because only you can create that sound. And only you can get in harmony with the other people where God has placed you. And if you don't have a church, Word of Faith Family Church is a great church. Amen. I mean, it's a great church. Don't look at everything. The heart is what you look at. Yeah. I mean, the battles we have fought, I mean, we're not killing squirrels, people. Seriously, we're going after lions and tigers and bears.
Oh my.
Yeah, well, that's what we fight here. And if you don't have that in your church, you know, we welcome you to come here because we live in perilous times. And we don't want anybody to go before their time. But come and play your part here at Word of Faith Family Church. Let's grow. Let's have birth. All right? Bring somebody. Grow it. If your seat's empty next to you, bring the person to sit in that seat next to you and disciple them. Don't just let them, come to church Sunday, Wednesday. No, actually disciple them, because what happens when you disciple somebody, you grow too. That's how that works. So the parallels between Genesis and Revelation. Now, I could go and add another chapter at the beginning and another chapter at the end, because what that does is unlock even more. So if I did Genesis chapter 4, and if I added Revelation 19, there'll be 5 more parallels in that. But I'm not going to do that to you tonight because, again, this is the fastest 30 minutes I always get it goes by fast. So just to kind of reiterate, we talked about, and Charity, just you can hold off. Thank you. I'm just going to kind of revamp some of the stuff we talked about last week, Sunday, just Sunday. But we talked about walking with God. Man was interrupted that. And then the walk with God, or the walk of God with man, was then established again, right? Then we had the initial triumph of the serpent. In other words, Satan triumphed. Okay? He got Eve to take a bite, right? And then Eve handed it to her husband. Okay. And then we had the ultimate triumph of the Lamb. We saw that in Revelation 20, verse 10. So you can see the correlation between the two. See, this is the thing you got to understand. That God is the author of you. And He's also the finisher of your faith, too. See, that's the cool thing about humans. We're different than animals. Animals have a beginning and an end. Humans have a beginning, but we have no end. Depending on where you choose to go, eternity is, there's no end to eternity. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So, but this is the cool thing about God, that He is the finisher of your faith. So then we go on to this part. Then I will surely multiply your pain. That happened in the garden. And then He told Adam, cursed is the ground because of you. Youch. You know, I've had some pretty harsh things said to me, but nothing like that. And then what do? You can't do anything about it. Then we got all this vast span of time until Jesus comes to break the curse. You know, don't want to be that guy, but Adam was that guy, all right? I still want to meet him, though. And then we go into Revelation. It says, shall be no more pain, and there shall be no more curse. Revelation 21 and chapter 22. So these are the bookends. See, and you fit in the middle of that. That's the cool thing about this. You know, I could preach you healing. You know it's there. You know it's for you. But what I wanted you to show is how God has got you. You know, just like a mother bird in a storm, what she does, she takes those wings and encloses her chicks, right, to protect them. And they're soft, and it's warm, right? So this is how God does that. And then we talked about they were driven from God's presence. And then they had the ninja with the flaming, rotating sword, right? Remember the ninja? All right. It's a great way to remember it. Yeah. So that angel had to stand outside and say, you can't come back. You can't come back. But then we go back into Revelation 22, and it says, even though we're driven from God's presence and His perfect will, okay, which was the Garden of Eden, then we got this, they shall see His face. We get to see God's face. Am I taller than Him or shorter than Him? It don't matter. That's mute stuff. But we get to see Him. We get to walk with Him. So from there, let's go to this part here too, and I just kind of printed off some stuff. But Genesis 1, verse 22 states this. Genesis 1, verse 22. And God blessed them. Are you blessed tonight? Yes. Say, I'm blessed. I am blessed. Yeah. These hands are blessed. Yep. Your wallet's blessed. Your purse is blessed, right? Your health is blessed. Yep. Why? Because God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply. Now, when God said, be fruitful and multiply, really what God was saying is, you know what? I created the apple tree for you. I created grain for you. But what I want you to do is make it better and improve it. Man, go do that. Man, I mean, we could look at it and say, go have babies. You know, I mean, we could say that. But it's really talking about what you put your hand to. He wants you not to just have $1, but $10, $1,000, $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion. Take it and multiply it. We know that because of the example in the Bible, right? Where they gave the talents, right? Yep. Now, if you added up those talents, it becomes a lot of money in today's money. Millions. Okay? So it wasn't just a little bit of money. It was a lot of money. But this is where God said, I'm blessing you. And then he spoke it out and said, be fruitful and multiply. And fill the waters and the seas and let fowl multiply in the earth. So God was saying, I am blessing you. Man, I am blessing you. I love you so much, I am blessing you. All right, so let's see what it says in Revelation. Revelation 19. So I am going to touch a little bit 19. Did I give you 19:9? I did, okay. Because otherwise I was going to go to 20 verse 6 as well. But Revelation 19 verse 9 says this. And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. Who's called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb? We are. We are. So kind of in this, you see the blessing from the beginning all the way to the end. And he saith unto me, these are the true sayings of God. So we can't get that mixed up, people, because man can get things mixed up. We can get turned around in Home Depot. Yeah. It's okay to ask questions, right? Find a guy in orange, tell me where it is. I'm not walking around your store because they make me spend money. And then I got to go home. But whatever. But this again is, and this is another correlation. We started basically with a marriage, right? Mm-hmm. And we go and end with a marriage, right? The church, the bride of Christ, right? All right. And this is where we have to be watchful as pastors that we don't start cheating on our actual wives with the church. All right. With the work of the church and all the people in the church, right? Because we didn't say I do to the building or all the people, we said it to our wives. And this is where we have to be very watchful of the work of the ministry too as well. I mean, even this is where we get God rested on the Sabbath day. He declared it holy. Right. I mean, he didn't just say, let's rest. Here's the Sabbath day. No, he said, this is holy, and I want you to rest. So again, we start with a marriage, we end with a marriage, and we end with a serious feast, y'all. What do we eat? 7 years? How in the world? But here's the thing. Can't wait to try it, but I'm just telling you. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. During that, food and fellowship is a big deal, isn't it? Especially with church. You know, you bring food, man, potluck, you smell it, you're like, can't wait. Why? Because you get to fellowship. Yep. But at the marriage supper of the Lamb, there's going to be things going on. But there's also people you're going to meet that say, you know what, you gave into Pastor Rosella's, orphanage. Yeah. And I just want you to tell her, I'm a product of that. Yeah. So thank you. So it's going to take us 7 years. It's going to take a long time to meet all those people. Or the people you prayed with, on the TV screen that never darkened the door here at church, and they'll remember you. They'll say, you pray with me through the TV, and I accepted Jesus. You're the guy. You're the one. You're the lady, right? Amen. And I just want to tell you thank you. Amen. I don't remember my former life, but I know it wasn't good, but I'm glad to be here, right? So anyway, this is saying we're blessed from the beginning all the way to the end. All right, next thing. Are you guys getting anything out of this? Please say you're getting okay. All right. Literally, this is, telling you the truth here. In class, I have 28 desks in a small room. And the students, it makes me tear up. But the students, their desks slide forward. Literally, I have to push the desk back every day. Because they want this. They want this. So please, lean forward in your seats. All right. So, next one, Genesis 2, verse 9. This is getting better, guys. All right, Genesis 2, verse 9. And in the garden, the Lord God caused to grow from the ground every tree that is desirable and pleasing to the sight, and good, sustainable, and pleasant. for food. I like how he did that. Did all this other stuff. And then he said, for food. What do we like to do? Well, obviously we like to eat. All right. So the tree of life was also in the midst of the garden. And the tree of knowledge and of good and evil, that was in the center of the garden. So everything else came out from that. Everything from that tree, God just boop, put in the center. Everything else came from that. Okay? God's tree. His tithe tree. All right. So when he put the tree there, he knew that it wasn't for man. That was his tree. And he told them, you know, I don't want you to die, so don't eat the fruit of this tree. And there's things today that you can eat of that will kill you graveyard dead fairly quickly. Whether it's alcohol or gateway drug, you know, you go from cigarettes to whatever, marijuana, then you go to the harder stuff. And you can possibly end up with meth, and that totally messes you up. It basically eats you alive. But this tree was special to God.